Hello and welcome to today's tutorial. My name is Joseph. So I've been requested by a user Stump to make a D-pad video. He's actually solved the problem himself, but I'm still doing it because I thought it was quite a good idea. This D-pad will be compatible with mobile, so it just suits with the rest of the stuff I'm doing. It just makes more sense. Most stuff tends to be migrating that way. So, what I've done is I've just set up some simple sprites as directional sprites and a player object. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a player object, like so, because we'll be using that and referencing that in a little bit with the D-pad. So we've got the player, and then I'm just going to start with left D-pad. And then that way, we're just going to basically rinse and repeat our code here. So left D-pad, we're not doing anything fancy, it's all stuff I've done before, but we're just doing it in a slightly different way. Like I said, because I'm programming it for mobile, I'm just going to be programming it for click 1, so then that way this tutorial doesn't lead on too far. But if you use the for loop will operate the exact same way. I got it the wrong way around. Remember, always check your syntax. We want the raw. And we do want that, but not quite yet. We need to check instance position before I forget to do that. So the basic idea is this D-pad's just going to get the player object to move in the 4 directions. I've just got to remember position. That's what I'm looking for. So yeah, it will just basically get the player to move in the 4 directions, nice and easy. Nothing super complex here. This is a bit of a dirty program, but it will do the job. So the other thing I want to do, so all I've done here, let me expand that for you guys. So all I've done is the basic stuff. There's nothing fancy I've done in there at all. It's just the stuff that you've seen in other videos. It's just the mobile compatibility stuff. In here, I'm just going to create a var sprite index, because that's just index. I'll just use that as an indicator for what the sprite's doing. So all I'm going to do in here is when it's pressed, the index will be equal to 1. And then I should be able to just do a reset like that. We'll find out very quickly if I've stuffed it up or not. Okay, next thing I need to do, I want to draw a sprite. I want to do sprite. Oh. As you guys can hear, I've gotten myself a nice new keyboard. Sprite. Oh no, I'm having a brain fart. Draw sprite. Duh. And then I'm going to relate this back to the left D-pad sprite. My sub-image will be my sprite index, and I'm going to draw an X and Y in close bracket. So, I also need to make sure to set a mask to this. So, just as a note, if you don't have a mask set, you won't get an ID return because it doesn't have anything to collide with. Warning. I should most likely explain that in other videos as well. So, what I'm just going to quickly do now, I'm going to throw the player object, and I'm going to throw my left button in there, because I just want to see if my code even works. That's all I'm doing right now, is checking to make sure it works. As you can see, I'm getting a whole lot of buctus. Let's see why. So, device 0, mouse X, mouse Y. Is it position or place? Because I always get these two damn mixed around. I think it's... No, it should be position. Should be position. So what we need to do is some bug testing. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to grab that there. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to draw text and get my syntax right, because I stuffed that last time like an idiot. And I'm going to draw it at position 0, 0, bam. And that should be correct, yes. So let's see if that does it. Because what I want to see is my mouse returning an ID or not. Because if it's not returning any IDs, it means it's broken. Beautiful. Beautiful. So what it means is it's working, but my programming is flawed. So let's go here. I'll comment out my sprite index change because it will keep resetting itself. And let's just see if that has an impact. So what it should do is change color to a darker color. Beautiful. Which means what I need to do in here is it's actually happening too quickly in essence, because it's going to read it line by line. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste my first set of code. So device click, but I want this to look for the... I've got to remember, is it in this set? Press release. Oh. Sorry guys, I'm still used to my other programming language I've been using, where you just hit the tab key and it finishes it. So what that should now do is when I release the key I'm using, so if you're putting this for multiple clicks, you just put the whole thing in a for loop and you just replace the zeros. So what that should do in theory is now that I run it, it should wait for me to release the click key and it should work now. So you can see up in the corner here, you can see how I return ID 0 in essence and ID 1. So when I talk about ID 1, you can see it's 10000001 or 00000. So that's just how I know what I'm interacting is working correctly. So from there, what we can do is there's multiple ways you can do this. You can do it by globals. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat a little bit, and I'm actually going to reference the player object directly. Because Gamemaker is a C++ language, we can do variable pushing, which is great. So, object underscore player. I'm going to go direction. Oop, did it again. Dot direction is equal to, I think it's actually 270 for left in Gamemaker. And then I'm going to go, we'll do it that way. We can either do it by speed or we can do it by X and Y. So I'm just going to do it by X. And I'm going to say 2. Now, in theory, because I haven't applied any settings, so I'm going to go into the player here, and I'm actually going to do some quick, dirty programming. We're going to do a draw self command. So that just tells it to draw itself, which means what, if I don't miss, draw self. I am not winning with Gamemaker today. Draw self. So what that basically means is this sprite you set is also the mask index, and it will just draw itself. So it's just going to reference this. But the reason this is important is I can go image angle. Image angle is equal to direction. So what I'm basically telling Gamemaker to do here is if I bring up my button, so it's basically going to say object player change direction, and then when it changes the direction, it should then affect the image angle that it's displayed as. So let's see if I'm right. It's just a quick way to test to make sure what you're doing works. So let's just take a look here. Look at that. Although, absolutely wrong on the direction there. We'll keep playing with it though. So you can see it's not massively hard to actually achieve. So 0... No, I can't remember. Let's just go through each of the cardinal directions here. Let's see. 90's definitely not going to be right, but... So 90's straight up. So 0, 90, 180 then. So it's moving in that direction. So if I go 180, let's see if that works. Beautiful. So you can see now my player can move in that direction. So all we really need to do now, except for that we can get rid of, so we don't need our test script anymore. So all we need to do now is I'll go duplicate, and I'll call this one up, D-pad, like so. We're going to select the up position. And then I'm just going to change that to Y. And I'm going to change that to 90, I think it was. Still the left button click. We want to change that to up. So we just make sure we update all our sprite detailing. Nothing important there. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So now, if I take my... some pretty big keys, to be honest. I kind of just drew them up quickly. Ooh. Ooh, and they don't line up properly. That's a problem. Let me decenter them. So, just as a note, these aren't actually massively big. But if you center things, sometimes when you center stuff, it can get a bit funky. So all centering does is basically just tells it where the sprite needs to be drawn. In this case, we don't need it to be really centered, to be honest. It's just simply doing one simple job, as you can see. So, let's see if that does what we want it to do. Well, let's see if it breaks horribly. That's what my stuff is known for. Beautiful, beautiful. Look at that. And as you can see, I can click on either of them. So, there is a slight bug there where you can see it highlights. So basically, it's just because it's not releasing. So, what we could do, in theory, so let's fix that little bug. So, all we'll do here is we actually then just take this piece of our script, and it's a slight change in logic. So what we're saying is, nope, I need to do it the other way. So we need to create a double standard policy, which basically means if the ID, instance ID is not equal to ID, then what we need to do is reset our index. Or if it's if we release, so the idea is it can either look at if I'm releasing on the key, or if my ID has changed away from my ID, it should turn off. So you can see there it turns off because I moved my mouse away. So that's how we repair that little issue. So the beauty of the way my script works is we can just do this, and we can copy and paste. Make that little update, beautiful. So, from there, all we're going to need to do is we make a duplicate again. This one will be right D-pad, like so. Change this to right. This needs to change to, I think, 270. This needs to change to an X and a positive value. And then this needs to change to the right. Whoop. I don't butcher my typing. Like so, like so. Put that in there. Let's quickly run that one, make sure that works. So it's a little fidgety, but it's not super hard to do. Oop. Well, clearly, that is not the right sprite direction, though. Oh, that's 0. I'm an idiot. And then my last one here, I'll duplicate again. We're going to call this down D-pad, like so. Here, we're just going to change it to Y, the number I keep using, 270. And then here, we're just going to go down. Bang, bang, bang. And then, whoop, I haven't used the right sprite though. I'll quickly update that now. So I want that to be D-pad down. Beautiful. We should update there. So let's just see if that works. Make sure everything looks right. Make sure everything is behaving the way we expect it to. Look at that. How good is that? So then I've just got a little missing centerpiece here. So I'm just going to go mid, D-pad, like so. Put that in there. And that should be it. Now, just as a note, normally I'd actually create the D-pad so the mid piece here actually controls the rest of them. In the sense of when that creates, these all just spawn on, which is just using an instance create 4 times. So that's today's tutorial. Again, I'd like to thank Stump for the suggestion. And he's also given me another idea for another one that I'm going to look at. So keep an eye out for that one. Again, as always, you guys are amazing. You have no clue. Please stay safe. And yeah, I'll see you guys later.